Hey guys, it's me, Tiana Danae Jones, and welcome to my podcast called Universal Revolutionary Healing. We're here today to talk about some very important things that are economically scheduling our society every day. What does this mean? We are letting you guys know that we have decided we want to transition our thoughts and our focus on some social and political, economical changes that bring economic awareness for affecting change in different communities, such as rural and urban communities, and the lifestyles that people in different cultures share there. How we do this is bringing the Americans the awareness as these relevant topics share the discussion between why the people need to know the knowledge and what social changes have really just structured our country today. African changes for showing of African American culture society is very important for economic development due to the fact that our political society had accepted Obama when he became president, and that squared a lot of things into different statuses and categories. And more economic changes value each time for the economy of humanity to grow. Single people, when they do their taxes, they have to economically schedule different ways of doing it when they're married because they have to do jointed taxes. When you're widowed or you're abandoned, that's a really big deal too because, it all depends on the change that revolves around who was head of household or who was providing the economic financial stability of the household. So that is on Barrett and Jay, 1999. And the struggles of women industrial workers to improve work conditions in the progressive era really structured people and genetically beginnings of women that started where they found the fundamentals of hard work and progression and perseverance, because it was very hard for them to adapt in the progression of a man's work field to get equal pay and also equal opportunities. So that's huge. Magazine of History 13-3, 43 on the website https www.proquest.com/scholarly journal/struggles-women-industrial workers improve/work DOC view -21372956 SE-2 ACCUNTID = 35812. Now, what that is the reference, and that's giving us the idea of where to find the historical figures of facts about why women have persevered and how changes in political theory of African American society had structured the economic value in our daily, ancestors' lives and our lives due to where we are now in our economy. That's huge. So now social changes bring identifying these elements of the women that suffered from these movements, and how they explained a shift to the urban life was based off of just adversity and having to take a bus or a train to another part of their economic city to have a job, mainly in factories, some in households, and also mainly just focused on the movement of survival and how urgent the lifestyle became as political figures grew in the United States. So that is very huge for women to get a congratulations here, guys, for achieving their political figure of movement, of acknowledgement, which is implemented to replicate where we are today in the United States for women. All lives do exist and women's lives do exist, guys. Let's go ahead and go to the next factor of what we're talking about here. Another major impact in our universal history here is describing African American leaders that began a political voice for African Americans during the civil rights movement. But the stage setting doesn't stop there. You have to understand all cultures came together to unify African Americans unified with Hispanics around that time, and all the Underground Railroad informants and all the people that were going back and forth in the society to give information behind the back of the communities that formated. That's huge. That changed our life forever. Political changes only feel that they have been historically shown, only to show that history can be repeated. African American leaders began to build a strong bond in communities and workforces upon occupations. The voice of political leaders grew during the civil rights movement, where they had underground organizations that built the progressive of immigration, of migration in the times of the civil rights movement. That built the United States economy from the railroads to the buses to education and transport. Many people were able to even incorporate their mindsets in their occupations for trade. Identifying what's politically changed from what had rooted was the grassroots progressive efforts, particularly under Presidents Theodore Roosevelt, Taft, and Wilson. By explaining our democracy and our freedom and our rights that progressed during the time of the economic value of what has happened in our world, we have been able to see that we were aided and progressed through social justice, aiming at challenges through party social psychology and also adaptation and economic value of economies and communities brought us where we are today. Period. From the times of the civil rights movement to the Great Migration, to the additional of the women and the children to be forced into labor and subjected into efforts that need to be shown of the new society of human trafficking that needs to end, because that is the shown of human trafficking in different ways. Now showing this effect now in the industrialization of economy and depression of farmers, well, guess what? There's so many different things going on, which cited in our discussion about different corporate companies not giving fair equal rights to children and others because they're under different unethical and unlegal and unmoral and unhuman circumstances to create the products or work in environments that don't give them the rights that they are promised in human rights, that they are subjected, legally bounded before being born. And so it's really important to show that, addressing these points of health and safety is very serious when you have benefits of women and children in factories, but also, now you have in our society transsexual transsexual people that are needing certain type of things in jails. They need medications and, certain type of human rights, health, ethical, precision of progressive work undergo strategy, and you see that they need help. So the point is, we're not trying to take their laws away, and I think this is very huge to talk about that, because all these different things all come into one. What are the changes in the economy happening right now? African Americans, Hispanics, and migrants and immigrants are all being targeted in the United States. Whether you are underclass, lower class, or upper class, all lives do exist, and your freedom and your rights are being tampered with right now. So what are we doing? We are assembling for peace. We are having peace protests by assembling, having events as philanthropy work to show that these are peaceful activities and ways to help build mental health in the economy, to show great gratitude. Now remember, we just did this with the All Lives Do Exist car show and live performance competition. That was June 14th, 2025. Now we will go into a more federal policy addressing workers' health and safety, because again, there are laws that are legally assigned to political theories based upon analysis and data. So we knew when the Great Migration started what had industrialized in immigration now compared to what it was immigration then has grown. And even in something sort of like other industries of ways people have created money revenues in the United States, whether it was ethical, moral, or unethical or unmoral, this existence has grown, and even as an example of lack of respect for humankind, and including the knowledge and not giving them the information has only made this situation worse. So we need to end human trafficking, and how to do that will be to help give people awareness and progression in strategy and an outlet so that they can get a hold of the right people who are standing up to the plate. The nation needs leadership, and here we are. So these are the key points of our podcast today. I am so grateful for you guys being here, and stay tuned. We'll be talking about this soon. If you would like to know where these references are located, they are at www.proquest.com, scholarly journals /struggles of women industrial workers and improve work and conditions in the Progressive Area Magazine of History 13-3-43 and Barrett NJ 1999. This has been going on a while, guys. God bless. All lives do exist and women's lives do exist. See you again soon on Universal Revolutionary Healing. Peace.